is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. Going beast mode when the game begin. I worked all summer to be a champion. At Venice High School, all we do is win. Man, it feel good to be an Indian.
And welcome to another season of the John Peacock Coaches Show. I am John Massoni, here with Venice Indian head football coach John Peacock. And Coach, we're back at Bogies, our home for the show for this year. Can you believe it's season 7 for the John Peacock Coaches Show?
Season 7. I think it's season 16 for me. I can't believe that.
Yeah, I know.
But it goes by quick for sure.
It does, but I think the fact of the matter is that the excitement of football season every year, the start of the season, is as equally as fun for the last 17, 16 years, everything else. So, looking forward to a lot of highlights, a lot of good memories, and a lot of good times this year with the high school football team. To kind of recap last year, I know it's one of those situations where you didn't reach the end goal that you were looking for last year, but you got to look back at the season and with the kids that came through the program, those seniors that went through, and where you got, you got to say that there's a lot of success wrapped around the 2022 season.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. Once you get there and you've won 2,
right,
or won 3. I've been a part of 3. You've won 3. It's not a really good feeling to go there and not get it done. We fell short, and people say, you're going to close the gap, and the gap's right here. It's a couple inches,
right.
Right. The gap is a play before half. Just getting lined up right.
Yeah, a wild situation at the end of the half. There was.
That's behind us. I thought, overall last year, I thought we exceeded expectations. Especially with rebuilding an entire offense minus a receiver. We brought back one receiver that started.
Right.
And, to be able to do that and get to the state championship game and be a couple of plays away from winning the game. And then, listen, I want to make this clear, too, is I'm not sitting here saying that we were as good as Lakeland, because we weren't. Lakeland was a better football team, but we were within a couple of plays of winning that football game. If we would have won, we would have beat a better team, regardless if we won or lost.
Right.
But, hey, it's a new year.
Absolutely
it's a new set of circumstances. We're not rolling up in here with one returning starter. We are rolling up in here with a bunch of returning starters and a bunch of experience. And I can't tell you how pleased I've been with our culture and the way our kids have handled themselves, the way that they've worked throughout the off season.
And you talk about it all the time, the off season being as important as it is for the success of the team. Just like you say, I know you're heading into that, but I know you were very pleased with the off season, how it worked, and how the kids really worked hard all summer and all spring.
Totally shocked. I mean, if you would have asked me at this point, starting in January, hey, would your team be at this point? And I would absolutely say there's no possible way. But we had a great off season. Coach Burton, Coach Heyer, and Coach Hunter did a great job in the weight room. We went from having 5 or 6 guys that bench 300 pounds to 32, which is way more by a large margin than we've ever had.
You said your strongest team right now.
By far.
Yeah.
It's almost, I think we're close to doubling those numbers for any of our past years. And then, starting the year off, you're losing guys like Trenton Kentai and Damon Wilson and Colin Atkins, who bench press 400 pounds.
Right.
And you're like, man, we're losing all that, and we have 5 guys that are just barely pressing 300 pounds. And then, you get into the part, and then we're done with it, and you got 32, and you're like, holy moly, that's really special. And
that translates, obviously, the effort that it takes to do that, is going to translate to the field. They're going to give you the same quality effort.
And our cleans are the same way. I don't ever like to talk about our squat numbers, because squat is so like, if you're a coach over here and you're measuring your squat max and you're only going quarter way down,
right.
And then we're measuring our squat max and we're going all the way down. It's going to be, numbers are going to be skewed a little bit, but bottom line, when they bench, they take the bar off the rack, they touch their chest. If they get it up, it's good.
They can have little arms or big arms or long arms, whatever.
Clean, same way. If the bar's on the ground, it ends up on your rack, in the rack position, you cleaned it.
Right. So again, this year, obviously a lot of new faces as far as positions are concerned. But I know one thing you talked about even at the end of last year was you had a lot of returning offensive alignment. And if in that particular situation, that's not something that happens very often where you have 5 guys who played who are coming back to play again this year.
Well, for example, last year starting season, we had one guy, Matthew Peevely, who was returning from our team
right
to the next year. All the other guys were
gone.
JV players.
Yeah.
They weren't. They didn't transfer in. We didn't get anybody move in. They came from our JV football team, and they were all new. So we had a JV offensive line day one of spring.
Right.
This year, we have 14 guys that were all on varsity last year. We got 7 guys that have varsity starting experience on our offensive line. 7 of them, like some high quality reps and snaps. And to go into fall camp after a spring to have that kind of experience, and along those same lines, we got both of our backs back.
Right.
Guys that rush for over 900 yards each.
Yeah.
The 2 guys rush for over 900 yards each. So there's some teams that are like, we got a great returning guy. He's rushed for 900 yards. Well, we got 2.
Yeah.
No doubt. So for that being said, like we have a chance to do some things up front and running the ball and giving our quarterback protection. We just got to come together. And those kids, the offensive line, they're a special group. I mean, they love each other. They hang out with each other. So I really see some good things happening.
With that, we're going to try to break down the offense a little bit more after the break. Defense, special teams. Let's talk about the schedule a little bit. We'll take a break right now. That kind of gives us a little tease about what the offense is going to look like this year. A lot new faces and the old faces are out there as well.
Yeah.
A lot of combinations, different things. With that, we'll take our first break of the night here at Bogies and come back and talk about the offense and see how things are going to look on that side of the ball for Venice this year. We'll be right back here at Bogies shortly.
We would like to take a moment to thank these sponsors for making this show a possibility. Jenkins Chevrolet, State College of Florida, Bogies of Venice, Venice Pest Control, SARASOTA Ford, Absolute Aluminum, Chick-fil Pelican Plaza, Douglas Jeep, and Lightning Fast Car Wash.
And welcome back to the John Peacock Coach Show here at Bogies. And again, thanking those guys for having us every week this year to do the show here. We got a little different spot this year.
Yeah.
I kind of got, we just saw you got the little background. I got the Venice Avenue shop behind me.
It's better than when we're outside.
Yeah.
I don't think we can go outside
now. You can just see the ambulances, the cops go by instead of hearing it when that happens. So anyway, thank them again for having us here. It's always a good time. With that, we'll continue the conversation about the offense. Talk about the offensive line, which obviously, I like starting off talking about the O-line because they don't get enough credit like most offensive lines don't. You know what I mean? But you got to go right where we have to start with the offense, and quarterback is a big position as always. And you've got 1A and 1B right now at the quarterback position.
So, the offensive line, starting off at left tackle, we have Nick Garza coming back. He started an entire year last year, and he's been kind of rotating with Elijah Cecil. And Elijah also had starts last year. I think he lost like 15, 20 pounds, got a little bit more athletic. And he's had a great spring. He's got a great attitude. He's had a great fall. So they're kind of rotating right now, and Cecil's kind of rotating in at other guards too. At left guard, we have Kane McFall, who's also a returning starter. Who's put on weight. He's the little guy in the bunch, so they always say like, "Hey, coach, we got to get McFall on the shake list." And like they're in the office weighing, and they're in their boxers, and they all it's not really a pretty picture. Right. This guy's got to gain weight. Get him on the shake list. I'm like, guys, really, I don't want to hear anymore.
Right.
And then LaCicero is returning at center, and we're really high on LaCicero. He was, we feel like he's only going to be a junior.
Right. He's a young underclassman.
We feel like he's got the potential to be really something special at the center position. And then at right guard, we have Matthew Peevely, who is committed to Air Force. He set the all-time bench record at our school with 435 this year. And he's a kid that started as a freshman, started as a sophomore half the year, started as a junior half the year. Or no, just started the whole year as junior. We had a few games. He was injured. And then, so this year we're expecting big things from Peevely.
And he's fun to watch.
Yeah.
If you're a football fan,
He's tough. He finishes. He
Finishes blocks. Yeah.
That's you're right. That's one of the funnest things to watch when offensive linemen try to finally figure out like, hey, I'm going to be a little bit nasty here. I'm going to finish my block, and I'm going to grind this guy. And
it's hard for that to happen for 4 quarters. It's wearing on the opponent.
I mean, his nickname is Dump Truck, and I gave it to him when he was a freshman. He was holding bags, and our senior offensive lineman would come out and block him. He just kind of he was knocking them on their butt. Like he was just like the immovable object.
Right.
And then at right tackle, we had Anthony Tanica, who's also a returning starter. Anthony's going to be a junior. He's a big, tall kid, 6'3", 6'4". So we're excited. We're really excited about him coming back and doing some good things. And there's also some young guys that have stepped up. Brody Cleary, the younger brother of Riley Cleary. He's going to get some playing time, So and there's also Roman Mock, who's going to be a 10th grader, who we expect really big things from. He's a big, huge kid, and he's got great feet, great athleticism. So those guys are pushing these seniors and these other upperclassmen that have started. So that's an awesome thing. At tight end right now, we have Scott starting.
Okay. Who he played a little last year.
Yep. Jackson Scott. So he's doing a good job. And then Noah Chifo has stepped up and he's been doing some really good things. He's really a mismatch in our passing game as a tight end. He's a big, tall kid, 6'4", 6'5", can run and jump. Kind of moved him from receiver. He's close to 200 pounds, and if he can that kid can put on weight, and here's the deal. Like he can put on weight and be 225. He can be one of the top tight ends in the country.
Right
now, he can stay a receiver and just be another guy.
Right.
So that's kind of hopefully, and he does that, and we put some weight on him, and he does a good job in the weight room, and that pays off in the long run. At running back, I think we're really, really blessed at running back.
Yeah.
We've got 2 really good running backs. Tough running backs. Alvin Johnson is one of the toughest backs that we've ever had. He's been on the varsity since a freshman. He's been playing since he's a freshman. He's committed to Bethune-Cookman. He's got other multiple offers, so we're excited about him. And then our other running back is Jamaris Wilder, who might end up being. I mean, I think this year you're gonna watch him and you're gonna say, wow, he's something special. He's done a great job in the off season. He's totally changed his body. He's up to about 185 pounds.
It's funny how I tell people all the time. You watch these kids as they come up from freshmen and how their bodies. There's always a change.
Right.
Where it happens, when it happens, you just don't know. When it happens, you're like, oh, that's what he's going to look like when he's 19, 20 years old.
And he's committed to University of Colorado, so I think he's excited about that.
Yeah.
He went up there. So, and at wide receiver, I think this is definitely one of the best wide receiving cores we've ever had. Starting outside, Ryan Matulovic is back, who had a great year last year as a sophomore, where he's done a great job in the offseason. His body is just chiseled, and he's going to be a really good football player for us. He's going to be a really, really good football player for us this year. I'm convinced of it. At H, we have Jace Barksdale. Jace's family moved down here from Tennessee. He's about.
I thought he was a linebacker.
He looks like
Naples in the spring.
He looks like a kid that would play linebacker. He's probably 198 pounds, 5'10". He runs good routes, runs strong routes. He's very, really smart over the middle of where to find the windows, and he's got a couple offers. UAB, Sanford, things like that.
Okay.
So we're excited about Jace. And then at Z, we have 3 guys. Well, they all kind of play the same position, but so we have some guys at Z. Zacarl Lewis, who's also committed to Colorado.
Yeah.
I kind of describe him as like Amari Hayes.
Okay.
With a little more top end speed.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Amari was a quick twitch kind of guy. Like he could make he can move sideways, like almost like an earthquake wind bender or something.
And so I'm not sure he's quite there.
Yeah.
But he's a little bit top end speed.
Gotcha.
And then along those same lines, we have Griffin Gassati, who came over from Cardinal Mooney, who's done a great job. Is big. Now, by the way, Matulovic, Jace, Griffin, all bench 300 pounds at receiver.
That's part of that club, right?
You know what I mean? So that's pretty impressive.
Well, I did notice the other night in scrimmage, that these guys were taking pride in their blocking too.
Yeah,
that's a big part of what success.
They have done a good job in that, and then the other receiver is we have another guy, Lavelle, who moved. Their family moved down from Michigan, who's doing a good job. He's a little bit behind because he's newer. And then we have Bryson Frazier and a couple other receivers, and we also have the ability to use Charles Lester,
right,
and Dalen Platt,
correct,
over. So those, I mean, that's a pretty solid.
Yeah, when you can sprinkle in those two last guys you just said as extras in the situation,
right,
you've got something that's really, really special on the receiving core.
And Malachi Corbett at H is, I mean, if anything he's still pushing Barksdale, but Malachi does some really nice things, and he's going to be a good player for us. So we have a really stacked room and receiver. Well,
again, so now we get to talk about the guys we need to start at
quarterback. The main guy, and obviously the guy that we need to, and every football team needs to win games, is the quarterback. And when we have, I promise you, we have the two best quarterbacks in the area, if not the state of Florida.
Right.
I think they're both highly underrated, but I think at the end of the year that it'll be a different story. Our starter right now is Jaden Glasser, and he's 6'3", 225. He definitely looks like a defensive end linebacker.
There's a picture of me standing next to him, and it's funny to see how big he is.
He's huge.
Yeah.
The best thing I can describe is a little bit shorter version of Cam Newton.
Yeah, he's just got that. Because when I was speaking to him, I didn't see it, but when I stood up next to him, I was like, oh. I should be still sitting down.
And then Ryan Downs, who what I want to say the most impressive thing in Ryan Downs is I each year pick a MVP for the summer, and I asked the coaches, say, give me your top three. Top three, doesn't matter what position. Every single one of them, hands down, their first guy was
Downs.
Everyone.
Yeah.
And so he was our summer MVP, and that's. There's all these awards, all state, all this, but what a award to be picked by your coaches and your peers.
Right, and what it relates to is the character of the person doing the right stuff, doing the right thing. I know that's what you're looking for in that situation, and when that guy is competing for a starting position, probably going to start off as the guy not starting the season off. It just speaks well to him as what his character's all about. He's working just as hard, doing the right things, and that permeates the entire team.
Yeah, and he's getting better. His nickname was the Machine.
Okay.
And the Machine. Every time every day we have a challenge, and it would be a O lineman and a defense lineman. It would be a combo guy from offense, a combo guy from defense, and then a skill guy from offense, a skill guy from defense. Well, if the Machine was going, you were done.
Right.
The Machine's winning. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we picked. I mean, we do all kinds of stuff,
Right.
That might not be to his strengths, but the Machine's getting it done.
Yeah, no doubt. With that, we'll take another break here from Bogies and come back and talk a little bit about the defense. There's a lot to replace on the defense, but I think there's been spots been filled amply. We'll see how that works out. So we'll be right back here with the second part of our preview for the team this year on the John Peacock Coaches Show. Back in a few minutes.
We would like to take a moment to thank these sponsors for making this show a possibility. Jenkins Chevrolet, State College of Florida, Bogies of Venice, Venice Pest Control, SARASOTA Ford, Absolute Aluminum, Chick-fil-A Pelican Plaza, Douglas Jeep, and Lightning Fast Car Wash.
And welcome back to the John Peacock Coach Show. And Coach, defense wins championships. That's the mantra. Lost a bunch of players from the defense last year. Some highly recruited, highly skilled players are going to go out and do great things. But I think as you're coming into the season, the defense really looks like it's right back where it was a year ago, 2 years ago. It looks like it's ready to go and roll again. And I'll say this to you. Probably starting off with the fact that you had your two leading tacklers back from last year, and Carter Dalton and Eli Seed.
Yeah, last year we lost two two really, really special defensive linemen, and Trenton Kentai and Damon Wilson. Damon Wilson, probably one of the best, or the best football player that Venice has ever had. And we're not going to replace that guy.
Right.
You're just not. But we do have some guys that we're excited about that had a great offseason and had a great spring. Ryan Daly in the middle has had a great offseason. He's 270 pounds. So I think that he'll be able to control the middle there. You got Eli Jones, a younger kid that's going to be 11th grader.
And I'll tell you what, he stands out for two reasons. He's gotten as tall almost as his brother from last year, and he wears that number 10 jersey.
Yes.
And he sort of pops off the page a little bit. I think he's going to do some things for sure.
Yeah, and very athletic. I mean, he could have been a tight end,
right?
But he's on the defensive line. He's doing a great job. And that we're able to move David Galloway to defensive end. David was a little bit undersized inside, but he's a big, strong kid. David benches 350 pounds or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to do some nice things on the edge. At the other defensive end, you got Ashari Charles, who Ashari's going to be, he's going to be special. He's going to be he's a guy. I mean, he's a dude. And,
only a sophomore too.
Only a sophomore.
Lot of room to grow.
And he's probably about 225 pounds right now. And I say, but a senior, he's probably going to be 265, 270, looking like a total freak. He's a good-looking kid, and he's the type of kid that goes in the weight room, does a set of curls, and his arms are bigger. It's nuts. I mean, how people are like Trey Burton was like that. He worked out, get two workouts in, and his body changed. How did that happen? So we're excited about those guys. We got also in there Dylan Bryant, who's been doing a good job. Shamar Littles, and so I think defensively and the defensive line, we're going to be fine.
You want to get some depth there too. You like rotating those guys in and out because it's an all-out.
It's just they're new. There's questions. So everyone's saying, "Oh, Venice is good, but their defense line's not good." I'm like, I think we're all right. I think we're going to be all right. Now, the other part of our defense is probably the most experienced and the most skilled that we've had ever starting the season.
Yeah.
Eli Seed, like you mentioned,
sure,
returning, leading tackler of the team.
He was leading tackler.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then our second leading tackler, Carter Dalton, also returns an outside backer. And I remember talking about Carter Dalton last year to you, man, this kid is doing great. He makes plays. I really like this kid. And so he had a great year, had a lot of tackles. We have a new kid that transferred in, Chris Lee, who's committed to University UNC Charlotte, who's going to be really good for us. He's got some great closing speed. You got Jordan Joseph, who's also competing for that spot, along with Ben Zarkowitz. So in the middle, just the middle linebackers, I mean, we have some really good football players. That we'll be able to. We'll be pretty deep.
Like I said, you're deep, and you can if these guys they're all equally playing as well. Get him in there and get a guy a little bit of a rest here and there. That's great to have.
Our outside backers, other than Carter Dalton, you got Adam Papatakis, who had probably one of the best plays in the spring game. Very, very athletic. Moved him from wide receiver. He had a great offseason, put some weight on. He played wide receiver, and
he was a guy to watch in that game against Naples.
I mean,
really
he's fast. He's athletic. So he's going to have another. He's going to be another one that has a great year. Kane Judson, who was a freshman last year, who actually started a few games.
He did
for us. I'm not sure who was hurt.
I know it wasn't Dalton. It was the linebacker on the other side. I'm drawing a little bit of a blank right now.
So Kane's back, and so he's going to be playing a lot.
Michael Phillips. Wasn't it Michael
Phillips? No, it was not Michael Phillips.
Huber, that's right. Jack Huber.
Jack
that's
Huber.
It.
Yeah. So he got to start a few games as a freshman, so he's back. So we're excited about that. And also Chris Lee can play a little bit outside too. So, Chris is going to find himself on the field at different spots. And Chris is a type of kid that can also rush the passer. He's got some special knack of getting after the passer and great closing speed. So he's going to be that guy that we kind of move around and play at different spots.
Quickly, go ahead and give me what about secondary though, because I know there's some.
I forgot the secondary. We got a few guys there, right? Definitely the most talented secondary I ever had. There's no question about it. Leading the way is obviously the number one corner in the country, Charles Lester, And what I've been telling everybody is, we got the number 1 and number 2 corner in the country, and number 2 is Dalen Platt, who had a great offseason, kind of a late bloomer, late kid. He's very long. He's explosive. They both have great ball skills. They're both long. They're both explosive. They almost look like twins out there. I mean,
Right.
you close your eyes. I mean, they're both. I mean, Charles might be a little bit heavier, but they both play very, very similar. So,
And you've got some other guys, got safety, and you got someone else backing them up.
Chad
there.
Fleming.
Yep.
Chad Fleming's going to be right now. He's a starting safety, but Borelli's out back there pushing him, and then we also have Kenai Brantley, who Chuck and I said Chuck, Kenai Brantley. We're also going to have Charles Lester,
Yes.
and we're also going to have Dalen play a little bit of offense. So we need that, and Kenai's been doing unbelievable. He's had a great camp. He's tough like Chuck.
Yep.
He wants to get physical like that, and I love that. And I see him, finding a starting spot, whether it be corner or safety. I see him working his way to where we can't keep him off the field.
And I think that group in particular is going to capture a lot of headlines as the year goes on.
There's no doubt.
They can be uber special.
I'm sure there is, but it's hard to believe that there's another high school other than IMG that has 2 6'3", 6'2" corners that can run, and they got Power 5 offers.
Last time we saw something like that in Venice High's football field was when St. Francis had 3 guys that were 2 6'3" guys and a 6'6" guy playing safety.
Yeah.
So they're saying the same thing. All right, with that, we'll take our final break of the night. Come back, talk a little bit about our schedule, talk a little about the district, talk a little bit about maybe some special teams, then we'll wrap up tonight's first episode, Season 7 of the John Peacock Coach Show. Back after this break.
We would like to take a moment to thank these sponsors for making this show a possibility. Jenkins Chevrolet, State College of Florida, Bogies of Venice, Venice Pest Control, SARASOTA Ford, Absolute Aluminum, Chick-fil-A Pelican Plaza, Douglas Jeep, and Lightning Fast Car Wash.
And we're back here at Bogies for the final part of tonight's John Peacock Coach Show. And Coach, special teams, give us a little talk about our kickers.
All right, so special teams as of right now, we return our long snapper, which is
Big.
always big. So Hudson Traeger's back. He's going to do the snapping for the punters and the kickers. Our kicker is Josiah, and I can't say his name. I'll screw it up. But Josiah's our kicker.
It's fine. That's all they're doing the same
and
thing.
he's done a really good job. And then our punter right now is Kane Judson, and he wasn't doing all that great. We were kind of concerned punting, but we changed something up last week and what we're doing, and now he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. Like,
You never know, man.
I never knew I could coach punters. I don't even know if I did it. I just think I think he did it.
Well, sometimes you find.
I think we saw something. I'm like, why did you do that? He's like, well, because I got to do this. So we're gonna do that then. That's what we're gonna do. So that was good to see, and so we're excited about that. Our returners, we're excited about our returners.
Yeah, you got a lot of returners.
You got Lester, you got Lewis, Zakaro Lewis, you got Charles Lester, you got Barksdale, you got Platt.
Gator Wilder.
I don't think. I mean, we might be using for kickoff.
Yeah, he's got some top end speed as well.
I mean, we got returners. It's pick it out of a hat.
Right, no doubt. Schedule-wise, the district, obviously, Sarasota Riverview, same as last year. Obviously, those games mean a ton, but the rest of the schedule, obviously, the early start to the schedule is going to be a big test, but it's a test off the whole season with the likes of Palmetto and Manatee on the schedule this year. A lot of interesting games to watch.
Yeah, we're going to play the best people we can. We got Tampa Bay Tech, we got Armwood, Cocoa, Miami Northwestern, and then we're off. Then we got Riverdale, Riverview, Palmetto, or no, not Palmetto, someone else, maybe Manatee, and then Sarasota and Palmetto and Clearwater International, who's also a top 10 team.
IMG White.
who's also a good football team,
Absolutely.
probably in the top 50 in the state.
Yes. So no doubt. So schedule-wise, again, a lot of home games. After the Northwestern game, it's all home games after that.
Our two tough ones are on the road. I just want to test us on the road. We got to make sure, we're going to play a lot of home games. Let's go ahead and test ourselves.
Two great teams, two traditionally good teams at their places. So it's going to be fun to see how that goes.
Yeah, we got Cocoa, who's returning state champion.
So you wanted to talk about the season tickets.
Oh, season tickets. So if you haven't got your season tickets yet, you go by Boone Law Firm to pay and get your season tickets. I'd highly recommend that. Avoid the lines, have a place to sit. Also, if you purchase season tickets, you the first right to refusal, and when playoffs come, to buy those reserved seats. And you might not think it's important now, but when we get deep in the playoffs and you want to find a seat, you don't need to get there at 5 o'clock. So get your season tickets. I highly recommend it.
Well, Coach, looks like we got our show in the right amount of time. You and I are used to talking a lot about on our podcast,
right?
And now we're going to talk and crunch it down into that 27-minute time frame. But we did it today, and hopefully we'll do it every game leading up to the ultimate goal at the end of the season.
Yeah, come out and support us. Tampa Bay Tech. Tampa Bay Tech played in the state championship 2 years ago. Our first game, they're going to be a huge test for us. So come out and see us.
With that, thank you, Coach, for being here, like always, and thank you guys for watching. See you next week on the John Peacock Coaches Show.
What time is it? Game time. 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 Going beast mode when the game begin. I worked all summer to be a champion. At Venice High School, all we do is win. Man, it feel good to be an NBA.